Hello there. How are you doing today? As of the time you are listening to this, thanks for tuning in to my podcast. I'm Olalekan Enoch, and this is the TheAi-Trader podcast brought to you by Racktor. Hello, it's Olalekan Enoch here again, and welcome to this podcast on the Chat and Chat podcast. Thank you for showing up once again. It's brought to you by Racktor. On this podcast, I would be sharing with you some very important things that I see that as a trader or an investor you need to know before you trade. And I think that's why I captioned it as before you trade or before you invest, have this. It is important that when you have a end picture in mind, to know that when you have an end picture in mind, it becomes easy for you to achieve your goal, because having an end picture, having a big picture as to why you're doing whatever it is you're doing, helps to keep you motivated, helps to keep you going when the times are hard or things are not looking like you might want it to be, because there is always going to be there's always going to be a room for unexpected circumstances. Although trading the right way means that you're trading with the highest probability setup you can have in the market, or leveraging on high probability systems like Racktor that you can have in the market. But however, it is still a probability game, all right? So it's not a 100% surety in the sense that it is a zero loss system. No, but it's a system that does it more times than it doesn't, meaning that you have more wins than your losses. But understanding the fact that you have more wins than your losses, you have to realize that your loss could be what is going to come first. Let's say you have a working system of 60%, meaning that out of 10 trades, you are going to lose 4 trades for a fact. Maximum of 4 trades, let's put it that way. So in that scenario, let's say it's your losses that come first. How are you going to handle that? So you have 4 straight losses, and then you're like, I'm not doing this again, I'm going back and all of that. But only to find out that your next 6 trade are the successful ones, and then they cover up, they write off the loss as though they never appeared. Okay, so before you trade, there are very important things that you need to know and have in mind in order to experience a much more smoother exposure in the market than someone who doesn't have the things that I'll be sharing with you. Okay, so in this podcast, I'll be sharing with you the first of these 4 things that you should know before you trade and invest. And then in other podcasts, subsequent ones to come, I'll be unveiling the theory. So look forward to the next podcast. All right, number 1 thing that you need to have before you invest or trade is you need to have a goal. Yes, have a goal. What is your goal in mind? Why are you trading? Have a very clearly, responsibly defined goal. Yes. Take note of what I said. A clearly, responsibly defined goal. It has to be clear. It has to be responsible. It has to be well defined. It has to be well defined, not just some ambiguous goals of, I want to turn $1 billion I want to turn $10 to $1,000 in 1 week. That is unrealistic for a fact. Is it possible? Yes. But can you do that in a certain week that you plan for yourself? No. There are definitely uncertainties in the market. Fundamentals can kick in. Anything can drop on, a bomb can drop somewhere and then disrupt the whole thing for you. But what's your goal? That is a good desire or ambition, but is it a responsible goal? Is it a responsible goal? How will you have a goal of $10 for $1,000 in 1 week? If it's $10 to $100, that is okay. If it's $10 to $50, that is much more responsible. But if it's $10 to $1,000 in 3 months, that still makes sense than saying $10 to $1,000. Is it possible? Yes. Can it happen on your terms? Most likely, no. 90% of it is no. It can happen on your terms because You cannot for a fact say this is what the market is going to do. Wow, because of natural circumstances. Okay, because of natural circumstances. Now, even if you have a setup that is going to give you that very 10 to 1000x, but the market pulls back some pips backwards, and then you're out of the market because of your $10, and someone with $100 is still, say, it's just 10% down on his $100, and then the market pulls to 15% and then shoot 1000% upwards. What do you want to do in that scenario? Or what would you do in that scenario? All right, so having a very clearly defined responsible goal gives you an edge over most investors in the market, over most traders in the market. Why? Because you are much more approaching the market with a clear state of mind. All right. Of course, it's good to have these ambitions, these big desires of going this multiple times, doing this and doing that. But however, is your goal responsible enough? Is it responsible? What is your experience in the market for you to give yourself such a kind of goal? The goal has to be challenging, quite right, yes, but it still has to be responsible. It has to be visible. It has to be visible. It has to be doable with what you have. It has to be doable. All right. It has to be doable because your goal will test your strategy. If you say, let's say, for example, now, let's use the example of $10 to $1,000 in this number, let's say 3 months. Does your strategy allow that? Your goal will make you check into your strategy. Can my strategy take me this far? That is number one. Can your patience take you that far? Are you able to wait for 3 months until you achieve 10 to 1,000? Can you wait for that long? And the next thing is, what will sustain you to waiting for that long before you materialize your goal? What is going to sustain you? So instead of working with 10 to 1,000 in 3 months, why not just increase your capital and have a much more reasonable return? Okay, so that is why you want to have a goal before you invest. Even while investing with Racktor, have a goal. Why am I investing? To what end am I doing this? That will keep your energy alive. That will make you come up again with a clear state. That will give you a reason to wake up and get back on chart and trade. That will give you a reason to leave your account with Racktor and say, let's go again and trade again. All right, well, because you have a goal. This is not all. There are other things that I'll be sharing with you in episodes coming after this. But however, define your goal, understand your goal, understand why you're doing what you're doing. It could be, all right, I remember when I start having a consistent result, one of the things I said to myself is that how much do I need to live fine in a week? How much do I need? All right, so I have that written somewhere in my note and said, okay, in a responsible mode, how much capital do I need to get this amount of return with Racktor weekly? I wrote it down. So do you know what I just did? I went straight to get that capital, purchase the market, and then Racktor keeps making that amount, more than that amount actually. But because I have a goal, I left the rest while I live off the things that I said is going to be sustainable for me weekly. And I'm still achieving that goal to date. So I'm not under the stress of needing money to spend this week. What will I be spending next week? Because I know that the market is going to make that for me. And if the market doesn't do well this week, I have compounded profit that I did not withdraw. So let's say I'm only living on 10% of my capital every week, and the market Racktor makes in the market 15% of that. I still leave the 5 for dry season. Let me put it that way. I leave the 5 for dry season. Let's say maybe it's only happened to make 80% of the account in that week. So I just stick to my goal. I stick to my rules. I stick to my, okay, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing this on this account. This account is just to sustain me weekly. So all I just do is I look at the end of every week, which is every Friday, I look into what I have in the market, and then I withdraw my target. What I'm done. I don't care what is left. I don't care in terms of the profit that is left. I just leave the rest there, and then I leave off my goal. Then that settles my weekly expenses. No stress, no complaint, no straining. So by the time I'm going back to the market again, my head is clear. I don't have to say I have to have 80 hours before. No, I have an account that just takes care of my weekly expenses. That is one of the goals I have when I started having consistent results, and I'm definitely trading with Racktor at the time as well. So having a goal smooth your experience in the market, gives you a clearly defined edge. Your goal filters the noise. You are not concerned about someone posting a result of from $1,000 to $10,000 in a single trade. You're not moved by that. The question is, are you hitting your goal? That's that person's goal for that time. But you have to ask yourself, how often does he even do $1,000 to $10,000? Maybe once in 6 months. Is that what you want to live on? Is that your own personal goal? And it doesn't even do that. The person you're probably getting inspired on is not doing that every week, and it's not doing that on all of his accounts. This guy have multiple accounts that you don't know about. So you really want to have a simplistic goal, responsible goal, clearly defined goal. And I bet you're going to have a smooth experience in the market. The market is just literally going to be working for you because your goal is clearly defined before you jump in. Thank you for listening to this episode. I really appreciate you for sticking to the end, and I look forward to having you in the next episode. Share this episode with your friends. Definitely will be here next time. YouTube, Spotify, across the social media platform. I'm Olalekan Enoch, and this is Chat Podcast brought to you by Racktor. And if you haven't been an investor yet, we look forward to having you on board. Cheers. Thank you for listening to this episode. I really appreciate you for sticking to the end, and I look forward to having you in the next episode. Share this episode with your friends. Definitely will be here next time. YouTube, Spotify, across the social media platform. I'm Olalekan Enoch, and this is Chat Podcast brought to you by Racktor. And if you haven't been an investor yet, we look forward to having you on board. Cheers.